Yeah.
So we have people from different parts already joining. So as we come in, we hope to have a very nice the knowledge sharing section. Please kindly comment your name and your country where you are live from. Drop in your name and your country. I'm seeing a lot of names here that tells us we are not only Nigerians. We appreciate you for coming to this section. Mr. Ajibola, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here with you, sir.
Please, can I make you a co-host so that you can help us to admit those coming in?
All right, no problem, sir.
All right, so I've done that now. You're now your co-host. Okay, good afternoon.
Right.
Veruna from Sri Lanka. You're welcome. That is far away. It sounds like an Indian city. Am I correct?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Please kindly mute yourself while you join us live. Kindly mute yourself. It's very important so we can have a well-coordinated training. We want everyone to stay muted while we start this section. Thank you. Please kindly stay muted. We appreciate your cooperation. Thank you for coming in. Kindly drop in your name and the country you're live from. You're live from. We appreciate it that. Okay, please drop comment. Okay, is this close to India? Okay, close to India. Please kindly comment your name and where you're chatting us from or where you are live from. It's very important so we can understand our scope of engagement for today. Yes, I believe I can be seen clearly now. Not very clearly. Let me try and I think it's better this way. Okay. Ejiro Michael from where? This UAE. Mr. Michael from Nigeria. Michael Adegoke. You have two Michaels in the building. Naimat Ali from Pakistan. Pakistan, thanks for coming. My name is Wali Adegoke and I'm from Nigeria. Let's keep dropping that. Reki from Nigeria. We have Oyega only from Nigeria. Yes, Nigerians. I think Nigerians are topping this year. Okay, from Nigeria.
Bear with us. Okay, you're back, sir. Hello, Mr. Wali.
Hello, can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me?
Yes, you went off the other time.
Yes, apologies. That was the network issue.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Please kindly help us to mute others and also help us to admit those coming in. We have De La Cruz from Philippines. We have Ogushola from Nigeria. Thank you all for coming. So my name is Wali Adekoke, and I'm the facilitator for this training. And we want us to really have a very good section this Sunday, a knowledge sharing section where we educate ourselves on issues concerning health and safety. And today, we are going into a particular new field, we are merging safety together with projects and how safety can be a tool to project success and quality deliverable using the book of knowledge. So this training is going to encompass so many fields. We are going to basically focus on quality, we are going to focus on scope, we are going to focus on cost, and productivity, overall productivity, using safety as a tool to ensure these things so that it's going to equip us with the required skill, competency, communication skill that we need to be able to prove to clients and whoever is involved that safety is a major tool that shouldn't be sidelined. In recent times, we've seen situations where safety is being seen as a lower entity to other areas of project deliverable. When in some organizations, they value cost, they value schedule, they value quality more than safety. And today we'll be giving us analysis on how using the book of knowledge, the project PM book of knowledge, using the PM book of knowledge to analyze these facts for us to be able to gain more expertise in the field. And not to take much of our time, going straight into the training proper today. So let me share my slides with you all. Come in, please. So kindly confirm to me that you can see my slides. Kindly confirm to me that you can see my slides and if you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can see your screen now. We can see your screen.
And you can hear me loud and clear. I want to be very sure. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, please. Okay, thank you, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much. So not to waste much of our time, let us go straight to the discussion of today, or to the training of today on quality, on safety as a tool to project quality, project success, and quality deliverable. Like I said initially before the network went off, we are called out safety consult. And part of what we do is at every month we give a free training. Last month we did a training on QHSE analysis, and in January we gave a training on our January training was on QHSE dashboard, using the QHSE Excel dashboard, training us on how we can use the Excel dashboard to ensure we properly investigate, we follow trends and patterns of happening data, safety data in the workplace, and we are able to use it as a tool to ensure that we are able to foresee upcoming accidents so that we can put active measures to measure our gap analysis. You can use it, you can also use it to measure so many things, including measuring KPIs, key performance index, and other data that we need in the safety field. So the second training was QHSE analysis, which was, we did a free training, and we also did a paid training where those that attended the training testified that they really enjoyed and learned new stuff. These are soft skills that are required as a safety professional. Yes, we can have so many certifications. You can have the Bosch IGC, you can have the Bosch diploma, you can have ISO 2001, IRCA, you can have MVQ, you can have so many qualifications, safety diploma certifications, but these certifications are 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. A lot of course outline provided together for us to put in our brains in a few periods. And you agree with me that most times we only read and study just to pass the exam and not for us to gain the required knowledge. It takes quality time, energy for us to actually go through them. But these soft skills we highlight important areas of health and safety depending on your field, because safety is very wide, depending on your field, so that you can be able to see how to progress and how to give quality and how to give effective services as a professional to your industries, to your organizations, to your clients, and to your world of contact. So today, as part of what we do at Skoda Safety Consult, we're issuing this field training on project management book of knowledge, considering safety as a tool and using this book of knowledge as areas that we use to explain these concepts. One thing we should understand about knowledge areas. We have a lot of knowledge areas according to the PM Book of Knowledge. But for this overview that we are doing today, we'll be focusing on 4 to 6, majorly 4, but we'll be picking like 2 or 3 more randomly. And next week or in 2 weeks' time, we'll be having a paid version where we'll be going through all the knowledge areas one after the other to analyze this and to see. And I'm very sure that at the end of the training, we're well equipped with the required competency level, and we will be able to confidently speak in front of construction engineers, site engineers, project engineers on how safety merge all these knowledge areas together. Okay, I'm seeing some message. Okay, Abdul Wahid from Pakistan, you're welcome, sir. Okay, thank you for the message. So, we are called out Safety Consult. We don't want to use this to waste our time. We have built good client relationship with our client. We deliver value. We deliver value services to a couple of clients. We're a new organization in the health and safety field, and we are putting in our best to make sure that we preach safety out there. We give safety trainings. We assist organizations in developing good strategies through health and safety. We help organizations in site investigations, site inspections to reduce unforeseen accidents, give safety advisory, and improve our productivity and business sustainability. Like we said, we are also into management trainings like psychological safety trainings, which we have delivered a training to one of our top clients in the financial sector. a financial institution, and we've been called a couple of times to deliver this training, psychological safety training. It's a new safety training that we at Quality Safety Consult we give to organizations to help them to improve on having a perfect team. Google as an organization, not Google as a site. Google as an organization did an extensive research on those factors that is required to have a perfect team. And the number one factor that they finally concluded and researched on that would help in having a perfect psychological safety. One of these days, we will have a free training on the basics of psychological safety for us to have an understanding, but not a deep training. Then we go into workers' mental health and safety trainings. This is part of the training that we offer to organizations. Site safety inspections on construction projects, other safety trainings, occupational health and safety trainings in the construction industries, safety trainings, work at height, hot work, use of heavy duty equipment, use of handheld equipment, a lot of economics, a lot of trainings that have to do with health and safety. We help in safety compliance monitoring, we help in developing safety management systems and other safety advisories and also accident investigations. A lot of them here, we don't want to waste our time on them. Inspection, risk assessment and method statement, home safety inspections and guidance, equipment list, HSE manpower supply. If you need HSE manpower supply, we help in giving this too. In-company trainings, best of trainings, every kind of training that you need, management trainings and safety training. These are part of what we do. So let us not waste time on this list of trainings. CPR, first aid trainings, any safety training that you need, you can call on us and we can always deliver these trainings to you. So now let's go to the proper training that we have today. Safety, a tool to project success and quality deliverable. Merging safety with project management. My name is Waliu Adeoke. I'm a safety professional in Nigeria with quite a number of experience and would train myself through professional courses, academic courses to improve myself. So in this course, what are we doing? We are going to understand the basic concept of safety and project management. This course is going to do two things. Understand safety in terms of project and understand project management on its own. There are so many areas to project management, but we are using the project management of knowledge. We are not using Scrum Master, we are not using Agile. Yeah, it's an Agile process. We are not using other analysis. We are using project management of knowledge. It's one of the most popular project management processes that we have. Familiarity with the integration of project management, safety management, relationship between cost, schedule, quality, and safety. If you have any question, I can see some people raising up their hands. Kindly drop it in the comment section. This is a free training and there will not be any form of certification. It's a knowledge sharing section, the training section that we are giving for free, so will not attract any certification. The paid version, if you are interested, is going to be later on. You can meet up and chat me up on WhatsApp for the paid version, where we are going to go into more details about this training. So that is that. This is about me. I don't want to go into this too much because of time. This is about me. Now let's go into the topic of today, to the course of today. If you require the certificate, kindly register for the paid version of this training. That will be happening in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. So project management is the application of knowledge, skills, techniques, tools to project activity meet the project requirements. For every project, okay, someone said we need a page about you so that we can get inspired. Okay. Okay. An industrials and results focused NEBOSH certified and ISO qualified management systems, ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001, and the PHSC professional with over 7 years of demonstrable track record of aligning health and safety operations, established project management paradigm within the FMCG, that is FMCG, fast consuming goods, manufacturing, chemical and construction industries, and work positioned to leverage operational and process safety acumen towards establishing and ensuring the safety and security of the people in the workplace, safety of facilities, process facilities, equipment, plant, and the environment. I think that was network fluctuation. Can you see my screen, please?
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
okay. Okay, please. Sorry for that. Proven expertise at conducting general risk assessment and accident investigations and executing HSE improvement proposals and accident prevention programs. Well versed in ensuring compliance, have ensured compliance with ISO requirements. Standing with yourself, who is this? I've carried out ISO compliance in a number of organizations with a view to update safety programs reflecting changes in regulations, process solid knowledge of the project management processes. I am a student and I have quite a number of expertise in the area of project management processes with full operational impunity geared towards implementing administrative best practices and strategies and fostering processes that ensures efficiency or procedures too. Skilled at optimizing team dynamics, uniting diverse agendas with common goal and harnessing strategic and operational diverse deliver results. A certified master trainer. I'm a certified master trainer and a safety advocate. I have a safety channel, YouTube channel where I discuss a lot of safety issues, safety at work, safety, and safety all around. Also, I'm a member of Nigeria Industrial Safety Council of Nigeria, a corporate member. I'm also a member of Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, also a member of World Safety Organization. By the end of the month, I'll be inducted into Nigeria Institute of Safety Engineers, and I'm also a member of Nigerian Industrial Management Institute of Management Consultants, IMT, Institute of Management Consultants, and I will be registered as a chartered member of Institute of Management Consultants. So that is that I can remember about me. I hope that answers the question. So if you have any other questions, people ask me for my WhatsApp, you can chat me up. I'm going to drop my WhatsApp number now, 234-80-2865, 080-285782. So this is my WhatsApp number. That is my WhatsApp number. That is my WhatsApp number. Please, if you have any question, that is my WhatsApp number. That's my WhatsApp number is 080-865-7826. Let me retype so that I don't want anything to disturb us while the training starts fully. Please. If you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. I've replied you. This, if you want a certificate and order a full, because I'm coming to this myself into. This training we are having today is an overview of the project management book of knowledge using safety as an integration factor. It is not a certificate training that we have scheduled to issue certificates of participation. But if you want to join the training that we are going to issue certificate, and we'll go into full details, full training on this particular course, which will take place in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you can send me a message. It's going to be a paid training section, and we can also train your organization and individuals on this. But for today's training, we are not issuing any certificate. In our last training, we issued certificate to those who showed interest in our training that we delivered. So this particular training today is a free training. We are having an overview, not a full detail, because project management book of knowledge is very wide, and integrating safety into it is a very huge task. But we have chosen some key areas of cost, schedule, quality, and scope, and we are using these key areas. We also show them procurement and risk, using this key area to explain our discussion. So please, if you want full information training on this particular course, for us to pick all the knowledge areas from one by one after the other, it's going to be a paid training section. And if you are interested, you can message me on my WhatsApp so that we have the section together. So now let's go into the deal. So when we're talking about project requirements, there are so many things that define project requirement. What are the project activities that you use to meet up the project requirement? For every project that you want to carry out, for every project that you are engaged in, there's a requirement. And these requirements are tied towards some knowledge areas. The scope of the project will determine the areas the circumference that envelope the project, where it should not exceed, and where you can actually play around to. The schedule of the project is also a requirement. What is the timing of the project? When do you want to finish and conclude this project? Cost, at what cost do you want to meet up with this project? The project design, the project the project quality, the quality of materials, the quality of delivery, the quality and the competency of engineers that will be engaged in the project, the risk factors that you want to look at for the project, the project chapter. All these are what will determine your project requirement. So we are talking about project management. You are now applying a particular area of knowledge, skills that you have, tools and techniques that you have developed to project activities. The various activities from the beginning of the project, from the initiation of the project to the planning phase, to the execution, to the monitoring and control, and to the closing phase of the project, depending on what you have. Using these techniques together to meet up with the project requirement is what we mean by project management. Now, let us look at what do we call health and safety in environment. Safety has a lot of meaning, a lot of acronyms, because safety is very wide and has different. We have the one that we call OHS, that's Occupational Health and Safety. We have what we call HSC, Health, Safety and Environment, HSCQ, QHSC, even HSSE, Health, Safety, Security and Environment, HSSEQ. No matter how it has been defined, we are talking about various laws, rules, guidelines, processes, procedures that have been designed for us to protect employee, number one, to improve the system, to prevent damage to equipment, damage to the environment, improve on the quality of our products, and overall business sustainability. You can't call yourself a safety professional at this point in the 21st century without talking about business sustainability, without talking about productivity. Your focus should be geared towards having high level productivity. What are those things that are required in the safety environment, in the world of safety, that could help us in achieving high quality deliverable, high level of business sustainability? Because in the 21st century, in the 22nd century coming soon, we'll be talking about business sustainability. So putting safety into this, one of the areas of business is projects. So putting safety into this, how do safety actually add the value to the business value of projects? And that is what we are talking. So talking about HSC, we're talking about those different laws, rules, guidance, procedures, processes that we have developed, designed to help protect employees, damage equipment, and the public at large. We're talking about the management science that concerns with the prevention of accident in the work site or to reduce the effect of accident. We're talking about the collection of tools, systems, processes to avoid health issues and injuries for our employees and to protect the environment. And in addition, like I said, to ensure overall business value and business sustainability. So today we are focusing on the project management book of knowledge, using safety as an integrating factor. When we are talking about, productivity and quality. How do you measure productivity and quality deliverable? There are 4 major areas that we look into when we're talking about project productivity and quality deliverable. The number one of all this area is scope. Scope of your project. What does your project entail? What is written in the project charter? What are we doing in this project? Then followed is completion on schedule. Completion on schedule. We want to finish this project in 6 months, and we don't spend more than 6 months on this project. It can be a process facility. We want this process to start running anytime in the next 6 months. Anytime in the next 6 months. We want this project to start running. Completion on schedule. Completion on cost. We want to spend $100 million on this project. Nothing more than that. How do we achieve this? Using safety as a factor. Then on quality of products, the quality of services that we want to deliver at the end of the project. These are the major tools that we use to measure productivity and quality deliverable. Now, when we are now talking about the role of health and safety in project management, after talking about the measures, what we use, how safety come into play. When you lack health and safety management system, you are definitely going to affect your cost, quality, and schedule. And that is part of what this training is going to enlighten us with, to tell us how. Sometimes you can be in a situation where you are focused, where your project manager or project engineer is focused on cost, and they tend not to look at the areas of safety. How do you convince them? By letting them understand that you see what you are trying to avoid is going to chase you if you not put safety into play, because safety play a major role in integrating every other aspect of project productivity. I gave an example here of a crane collapse. A crane collapse is an obvious example. When there's a crane collapse, we definitely know that it's going to affect the project. The crane collapse will definitely get damaged. The crane collapse can actually lead to lost time, and while workers are being paid. During critical lifting operations, there can be various safety issues, various issues that can lead to accidents if we do not put safety into play. So this is a direct understanding of what can happen if safety is not being put into play. The second is underground utility. There are a lot of them, lifting around power lines, critical operations. These are the roles of health and safety in projects, because these are the things we see when we carry out projects, among others, among the millions of them. Sustainability of the environment. For example, waste generation, waste reduction. How do we reduce waste in the environment? How do we recycle? How do we reuse? How do you manage this waste that you generate during your project, which can actually affect the environment? This has to do with safety. When there are fatalities, injuries, diseases, all this contribute to the cost of construction. You have the cost of construction, the project cost, the management cost, what you have planned to spend on your project. At the end of the day, when you have fatalities and injuries, it contributes to the cost of construction, and it affects workers' compensation insurance. There will be increase in compensation insurance, and this can increase our premium. And at the end of the day, we'll be paying more as an organization. And the cost of accident is integrated into the cost structure of contractors. If we do not put it into play, these are the kind of things that happen in our projects. Why do we plan for safety during projects? We are trying to decrease the chances of project delay. What can cause project delay? Accidents can lead to project delay. Use of poorly procured equipment can lead to project delay. And procurement is one of the knowledge areas that we have in the book of knowledge. Procurement is one of the knowledge areas that we have in the book of knowledge. So when there is issues with the procurement and safety is not being put into play, we explain this further in our discussion. Definitely, we are looking forward to having project delays. And part of the reason why we plan for safety is to ensure that we do not have any form of project delay. It also increases the potential for success and the confidence of team members, which lead to higher productivity and low staff turnout. Duty of care. There is what we call the psychological state, the psychological well-being of workers. It is very close to health and safety. It's an aspect of health and safety. Where workers feel psychologically safe, when they have duty of care, where it's proven, shown practically that the project that is being carried out, the management of the project also value them and they respect them and they value their lives. It helps in increasing staff morale, and it reduces staff turnout, low staff turnover rate, where staff leave to work, where they fail not to work, or they just, there's what we call absenteeism. when workers don't come to work because they are not feeling fine or some other reasons. And there's what we call presenteeism, where workers are at work, but they are not productive. So when we do not safety first, it leads to our level of what we call presenteeism, which eventually leads to lower productivity. But if we want to have our productivity, planning for safety will ensure we will be an evidence of show of duty of care that will make workers to want to work with all their minds, with all their confidence, and with all they have in them, which will actually favor the project at the end of the day. So now, integrating the phase of project management with safety establishment and implementation. We have 5 major phases in project management. We have the initiation phase, we have the planning phase, we have the execution phase, we have the monitoring and control phase, we have the closing phase. Initiation phase, what do we want to do? Planning phase, how do we want to carry out what we want to do? Execution phase, carrying out what we plan to do. Monitoring and control, are we doing what we said we are going to do, what we plan to do? Is that what we are doing? Then the closing phase, have we achieved what we said we wanted to? It's a fluid process and not a rigid process, meaning that there is always going and coming, especially when we are at the execution stage. There are stages, these are stages, and the monitoring and control will go forth, through and through. And we are telling us, we are educating us that safety is a central tool to integrate the phase of project management. And we continue on the courses. So at each phase of project management, we have these knowledge areas. Sometimes most of them is applicable, while sometimes only some of them is applicable. While sometimes only some of them is applicable. The knowledge areas, we have the integration, we have the scope, we have schedule, we have costs, we have quality, we have resources, we have communication, we have risk, we have procurement, we have stakeholders. These are the various knowledge areas that is applicable to each phase. Sometimes each phase might not take all the knowledge areas. Please kindly exercise a few seconds. Apologies, my inverter got finished, so I had to go and switch it off. So as we're saying, these are the knowledge areas that we have in Book of Knowledge, and we are integrating health and safety into this project management Book of Knowledge. Please kindly mute yourself. We have said this several times. Kindly mute yourself. We have said this several times. So, we are going to look into major knowledge areas and not all the phases. We will try as much as possible to cover as many as possible. Like we said, this is an overview section. In the next few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we are going to have a full section on this particular course. We are going to have a full section on this particular course. If you are interested in the full section, you can chat me up on WhatsApp or every other social media handle that we meet. So schedule is a knowledge area and planning is a phase. Remember, like I told us, every phase of the project, they have knowledge areas that is applicable to them. Some are details, some are just overview. So under each knowledge area, they have project management activities that we are going to explain further. So we have excluded the initiation phase because it talks about the project charter and the likes. We are going into the planning phase, which is where we are now. So under schedule, which talks about the time of the project, to achieve the schedule of a project, a deliverable step to prevent whatever can hinder the project should be taken. Accidents, injuries, workers' health, fatigue, equipment failures, use of incompetent personnel. These are areas where safety assists in saving time. If you look at all what I've highlighted now, you will agree with me that these are major parts of what we do, even to the extent of equipment failure. There's what we call third-party certifications when it comes to procurement of equipment, for example. When we bring a new equipment to site, we check, we ask for third-party inspection certification to be sure that not only to be sure that the equipment will not lead to accident, but to be sure that is where you put your energy for you to have a good relationship with your client and with your project manager, to be sure, and with your project engineer, to be sure that the equipment will not fail us when it's on operation, because we don't want anything that will affect our schedule of our project. We will explain this further as we continue on this course. Injuries is self-explanatory. Accident is self-explanatory. Workers' health is self-explanatory. Most of us are professionals here. Workers' health is self-explanatory. We all know how workers' health can affect the project, especially when they are technicals, when they are technical workers, technicians, that their services is not just what anybody can do. We need to make sure that they are in good health condition so that they won't break down one day and will not be able to work. The human resource is the greatest resource an organization or a project can ever have. Fatigue, use of incompetent personnel that will come and give us a poor deliverable, and at the end of the day, it will affect our project. And these are areas that we ask for the equipment, third-party equipment. We also ask for the competency of operators. We also ask for the inspection record of this equipment. You can also drop it in the comment section, those things you ask for during the time of procurement, during the time that you are bringing in equipment to your site. The time that you are bringing in equipment to your site, what are those documents that you ask for? What are those evidence that you ask for? Same thing applies to personnel. We ask for their medical records. We give them, they go for medical checkup, medical tests to tell us that they are fit. We also ask for their competency record, for their training records, to be sure that they can carry out the job. All these are not just being done for doing sake. We are doing this for a reason, and part of the reason is we don't want personnel that will do a job that will need that it will be required for the job to be done again because the person did it with poor competency level. So these are areas that we need to look into. You can, like I said, you can drop it in the comment section, those things that you request from your contractors or from your workers before they carry out the job, or when they bring out new equipment, what are those things that you ask for before they use those things? Those things also have an aspect of schedule to make sure that they don't just come and fail us when they are being required the most. Under schedule, we have a lot of processes. We have a number of processes that takes place under schedule. We have what we call, the first is planned schedule management. The first one is what? plan schedule management. Please kindly mute yourself. If the same person, okay, I think it's a new person. Okay, thank you, Mr. Adibala, for muting the person. Thank you. The first is plan schedule management. When it comes to area of safety, like I said earlier, what can cause a delay? When it comes to plan schedule management, integrating safety into it, what can cause a delay? Equipment breakdown. Now, what can lead to equipment breakdown? That's when we'll be talking about all these risk management techniques. What can lead to equipment breakdown? Mobilization of poor equipment, poorly inspected equipment. It can lead to equipment breakdown. Or being operated by an incompetent person can lead to equipment breakdown. Another issue is employee resignation. When an employee resigns suddenly, it affects the project. It can lead to delay of tasks. Accidents can lead to delay of tasks. Effect of pushing a project and possibility of accident. When part of plan schedule management is to understand that let us create enough schedule that will prevent us from rushing the project, because at the end of the day, when we rush the project, it increases the possibility of accident. So when the safety department is aware of this, they will bring up additional control measures to ensure that they prevent accidents from happening. Define activities. After planning your schedule management, then you now define your activities. Under define activities, that is where you can now you can draft so many procedures, just such as your job hazard analysis or job safety analysis. There's what we call work breakdown structure. That is what we call WBS. WBS is part of what you derive from the defined activities, considering how you want to structure your activities, your work, based on what you want to do. Then from there, you can derive your job hazard analysis, carrying out the job safely so that schedule is not affected, because you have understood that you have a work breakdown structure, WBS, under defined activities, and you have used it as a tool to derive your job hazard analysis. Then from defining your activity, then you now sequence your activities. Which one comes first? Which one comes last? How do we carry out this activity sequentially in a way that it won't lead to any form of accident? We have simultaneous operations that we carry out. We call it CMOP in safety. We have CMOP and we have safety critical activities that we carry out at every point in time. This is under sequence activities under schedule, which is a knowledge area in the PM Book of Knowledge. Then after sequencing your activity, then you now estimate activity durations. What are the elements of safety in activity durations? We have the working hours. What are your working hours? How many hours are you going to spend per day? How many hours are your workers going to spend per day? How many workers do you have? What are the man hours that you plan to use? This work stress, the pressure, you need to factor out pressure, overtime, night work. These are the elements of estimate activity duration. Like we used to say, extra working hours doesn't equal productivity if other factors are not in place. Every other factor must be put in place if you want to work extra hours, because just working extra hours doesn't mean that you get productivity, and we will explain further as we continue in this course. Then at the end of it all, after planning schedule management, after defining your activities, after sequencing your activities, after estimating your duration, then developing your schedule. So from there, from schedule, let's go into cost. Cost is another very important knowledge area in the PM Book of Knowledge. It's one of those areas that project managers don't joke with. They want to work within cost. And how do we factor safety into this cost? because there are some things that could happen that could skyrocket our cost. All these things work together. Schedule and cost work together. Schedule, cost, quality, scope, they work together. Your schedule can affect your cost can affect your quality can affect your schedule if you do not understand the importance of safety. Can I speak about schedule? I just finished talking about schedule now, and I think, okay, are you just joining us? Hey, Mr. Ejiro, okay. Now.
Yes, it's just joining.
Okay. Yes, I think that's the reason why, because we've been on schedule for some minutes now. So what we are saying here is that schedule is an important factor that determines project productivity. Schedule means the project should be executed in the span of 6 to 8 months. How do you achieve this while you put safety into play? How does safety help you to achieve your project within the right schedule that you've planned the job to carry out? We have the plan schedule management. That's the first thing that you carry out. Okay, all these factors you said about is what gives birth to schedule. Now, what I've mentioned here are the processes that is highlighted on that schedule. Processes. The first thing that you do under schedule is planning schedule management. How do you want to manage your schedule? Planning on how to manage your schedule. That is where you talk about what can delay the task, safety-wise. What can delay the task? What can delay the activities? What can delay the project? How can we improve on the project? Considering time, equipment breakdown, employee resignation, accident, and the likes. Then from defining your plan schedule management, then you define those activities that you need to carry out for your project. That talks about your job analysis under your work breakdown structures. Then from there, you go into sequencing your activities, arranging your activities sequentially in a way that it won't lead to accidents, and it will also ensure that what is supposed to be done is being done. And in safety, we have them in various forms. We have what we call simultaneous operations. We have some safety critical operations that we carry out at some specific time at the end of the project. Then we have estimating activity duration. After sequencing your activity, then you know the duration of the project for you to know how long it will take for you to execute this project. That is why we talk about working hours, work stress, pressures, overnight, night work, and the likes. Then now talk about, at the end of the day, you now use all these processes to develop your schedule. I hope that is fine. So the next one we'll be going into is our cost. Cost is also, like I said, it's very important and very important of project knowledge. Cost. Accident, whether it is fatal or not. The fatality means someone dies. Whether it's fatal or not, has a contribution to project cost. It leads to an increase in cost of construction, because when an accident happens, there will be additional cost, no matter how small it is. Damage to environment, non-conformance to quality standard and schedule overrun. Some accident has happened because quality was not put into play. And when you look at the aspect of quality that was not put into play, there's an element of safety in it. Low quality standard, non-conformance to this quality standard, and schedule overrun. Trying to rush a project. It also tarnishes client and contractors' image. That is accident, how it affects cost. Because at the end of the day, when an accident happens, it's apart from the direct effect on the equipment or fatality, it also bounces back to some indirect costs that we have, which we shall continue in this discussion. So now, what are they? We have the direct cost of treatment if people got injured in the accident, medical costs, compensation, fines. We have cost of the damaged equipment, or cost of repairing that equipment that got damaged, or the cost of mobilizing a new equipment to site. Indirect costs are even more. We have 80% of them. Lost time, reduced workers' morale, reduced productivity. Workers will be scared of working. Their mental well-being they won't be in the right mental state and will not be productive. Cost of investigation of an accident, overtime cost, because people will now start working overtime to meet up with the schedule, to meet up with the time. And at the end of the day, there is overtime cost. Administrative cost, cost of replacing a new worker who got involved in an accident. Retraining a new worker, you need to retrain a new worker again. Delay cost, cost of rescheduling, wages paid to injured person, equipment loss, material loss, productivity loss. All these are the kind of losses that we do not want to go into. So talking about the cost of safety, under cost benefit analysis for accident prevention, if you spend ₦1 to prevent an accident, if you spend ₦1, or if preventing an accident will cost you ₦1 or $1 on one dirham or one unit, if preventing an accident will cost you $1 and you fail to initiate or implement that ₦1 or $1, at the end of the day, it will, if an accident should happen, because you failed to prevent it with that $1, it will make you to spend nothing less than ×3 of that amount. That is $3. That is what is there. But if you prevent an accident with $1, you are gaining $3 in return. That is the cost benefit analysis for preventing accident. I will not want to go deep into this because this is very, as simple as it is on this slide, it is very deep. We have the planned value, the actual value, and the end value. Actual cost. When you talk about actual cost, if you want to finish a project, for example, from January to December, at each point, there is an amount that you should have spent. Maybe normally by June, we should have spent 50% of our planned budget. At 6 months, at the end of June, that is half of the month, we should have spent 50% of our planned budget. So that is the actual cost, the actual amount, that is the planned value. That is the planned value. Someone's coming in. That is the planned value, the amount you plan to have spent or value to have earned is 50%. Then the actual cost is the amount you spend. Maybe the project cost $100 million, and at the end of June, you should have spent $50 million. That is 50%. But at the end of the day, you've now spent $60 or $70 million. You've spent more than the planned value. The planned value should be 50%. So at the end of the day, you now look at what can lead to having higher actual cost than the planned value. Am I communicating? So this is part of what we prevent, and what usually makes it possible for the actual cost to be higher than the planned cost is sometimes due to lack of safety practices. Sometimes due to lack of safety practices. Aside from the cost of accidents, other costs that practicing safety curbs and assist in keeping close the difference between the planned value and the end value include, number one, paid time lost to mobilizing faulty equipment that breaks down and the cost of mobilizing and remobilizing. Let me give you an example of what happened in one of my sites. I'm sure we have Indians here. Sorry, Indians, you know, We love the people a lot. We love Indians a lot. We have a lot of you in Nigeria, and you are doing a great job in our country. Really appreciate you. I've worked with Sterling and Wilson, and something happened a particular day. We wanted to mobilize. We wanted to, okay, example of end value. End value is not to the end of the project, till that day, value of the work completed. Maybe by, I'm trying to use a very simple one. That's why I'm saying half of the month. That's what I'm saying. So that's I'm saying half of the year. By the end of June, which is half of the year, we should have finished 50% of the project. Am I there? Then that is the planned value. You should have finished 50% of the project, but unfortunately, you are still at 40%. You are still at 40%. So that is the end value where you are. So I hope that is clear. So as I was saying, pay time lost to mobilizing 40 equipment that breaks down and the cost of mobilizing. When you engage them, then they wanted to mobilize a swan boogie. Yeah, I think a swan boogie or so. And I told them that if you have to follow the standard required by Sterling and Wilson itself, because Sterling and Wilson is a very standard organization, the contractor or the procurement person bringing this equipment needs to give us a third-party certifications. We are not there when they've been using this equipment for the past 15 years. But a third eye will have inspected it and told us that this equipment will work for this so number of days and it won't break down. That is the importance of the third-party equipment, the third-party certifications, and the record of inspection and the likes. My site manager said, no, there's no time, this is what we see, it is very cheap, blah, 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 blah. You know, there's a limit to what I can do. Then I said, okay, no problem, bring it. The equipment came in, there's a cost attached to mobilizing. Came in, and the second day, after working for a few hours, it broke down. Then it gave me the strength to talk. I told you, if you allowed me to tell you the requirement that will give us confidence that this equipment will work, now we are having downtime. Our workers are seated now, doing nothing because the equipment is not working, and you are going to pay them for sitting down. At the end of the day, the man said, okay, let us get what you need. Then the next time we mobilized, we requested for certifications. It took some time before they could get us a very good one. I think the second or the third day. But when it was mobilized, now that one that wasn't working, we have to demobilize it again. Now we need to pay for another mobilization of another equipment. What most time this company, what they do is that when you pay for mobilization, you pay for demobilization too. So we wasted the first money. So now this new one, we need to pay for another mobilization from another company, and the equipment worked for, in fact, it worked throughout the time we needed it to work. It worked, and the man understood and was happy that, okay, now I understand where safety comes into play. This first equipment has caused us some delays, and we are behind schedule. But because we are able to implement safety, what safety requires, it is saving us time, it is saving us energy, it is saving us the stress, it is saving us cost of paying workers who will sit down idle because the equipment is not working. Paid overtime to meet up with the time lost. Workers working under pressure leads to low quality and sometimes has to be done again, hereby leads to loss of material. Paid time lost to stress and idle workers with low productivity. I'm supposed to give this example later, but I'll give the example now because of time. There is this other one that happened in another organization that I worked with. There is a standard working hours, but because they wanted to rush the project, wanted to rush that phase in the project, it was a plastering work, I wanted to plaster a very tall wall. I think the wall should be around 4 to 5 meters or so. So they used scaffold, very long, very wide, and I wanted to plaster it. And when it was time for closing, and you know one thing about concrete activities is that once you mix the concrete, you must complete using it. And I told them when it was almost 4 o'clock, I said, stop working. Don't mix any new concrete unless you will eat this concrete. I was just looking. But they know that once they start, I can't stop them. They reluctantly refused to listen to my advice because the workers were tired already. They wanted to do the work. The engineer, their own engineer, who is the contractor engineer, was pressurizing them that they need to finish that part that day. Around to 5, they started working, rushing the work, plastering, rushing the work. I was working as a safety professional, though I have experience and training in quality. Looking at the work, I was seeing the poor quality of work, but we were rushing the work till 7, till 8, till 9. They paid the workers overtime. The workers were happy that they paid them overtime. We were rushing the work till 9. When it was after 9, I think they finished the work and they went home. The second day, the client engineer came to site, saw the work and rejected it. Now, this is where the cost comes into play. They wasted materials. They instructed them to scrap all the work they did. To scrap it. No one is scraping. All the plastering they did, they should remove everything. Now they need to engage laborers to do that. That's another cost because they failed to listen to safety advice. That is another cost. Then after doing that, they now need to get another material, use another concrete, another cement, and now do the work again. Paying the workers again, spending new money again, using the time again. Who loses? The project, because you definitely be working under it will affect the cost, working behind cost, and working behind schedule because safety was not put into place. These are the areas that safety helps in proper planning of projects. So under cost management, under cost, remember we are still in planning phase. For those who just joined, we have 5 phases of project management. We have the initiation phase, we have the planning, we have the execution, we have the monitoring and control, we have the closing phase. So we're talking about the planning phase and we are using all the knowledge areas. We are focusing on 4 major knowledge areas, though we'll talk about 2 also, additional 2 as a bonus. We'll talk about these knowledge areas and applying it to each phase of the project. So in cost, the first thing is to plan cost management. In all your project management knowledge areas, in schedule, the first thing is to plan schedule management. In cost, the first thing is to plan cost management. In procurement, the first thing is to plan procurement management. In resources, the first thing is to plan resource management. In everything, in scope, the first thing is to plan scope management. You plan first. So using safety and integration is what we are doing here today. So under plan cost management, we have also including all other plan that you have, the cost of accident, the cost of safety, direct cost and indirect cost. Then the next thing is estimate your cost. Incorporate safety costs, the cost of training, the cost of induction, the cost of getting quality equipment, the cost of accident prevention, the cost of PPE, the cost of getting competent person, all these costs, the cost of non-conformance, then you now weigh them together. At the end of the day, when you include all this together with your normal cost of the project, you now determine what your budget is. That is when you're now telling us that you have incorporated safety by including safety costs into your project to ensure a smooth running of the project. Now, quality is spoken about schedule, scope, cost, and now quality. Quality, health and safety is quality. You can't be talking about quality without talking about health and safety. You can't be talking about health and safety without talking about quality. I just give us a story of an issue that happened. So when we're talking about cost, it's not only accident. Look at what happened, the plastering activity. What happened wasn't an accident, but it led to loss of materials and led to additional cost. Now, in that story, there's an element of quality. The job was of poor quality because they failed to understand the area of human resource when it comes to safety management. Workers getting mentally stressed, burnt out, they can't be productive again. When workers resume very early in the morning, they're very energetic. That's the best time for higher quality activities. By the time that the workers are tired of working and they go for 1 hour break, they re-energize for that 1 hour. That's why that 1 hour break is very important. And by the time workers spend that 1 hour, they re-energize, and when they start working, the rate at which the energy diminishes goes very fast down the lane. And before you know it, in the next 1 to 3 hours maximum, they are already tired. Any work beyond 3, 4, 5, 6 in the evening, they are already going to give you lower productivity, lower quality. And that is why we need to understand the area of human resources, the area of time management, schedule overruns, for us to have a very high deliverable when it comes to project execution. So talking about quality, completing a task without injury, accident is a successful project. Successful completion includes, when you're talking about successful completion of a project, completing the project on schedule, like we were saying this morning, completing this project on the right budget, and quality that we want this project to be. Remember the story that happened this year, I think some months ago, the collapse of a building in Ikoyi. There's always been similar accidents that have been happening, but because of low quality, it led to an accident. A safety professional will have seen that and will have spotted that in a sane organization that values safety, including quality, without damage to environment and without incurring fatalities and injuries. Let me come again. Health and safety is quality. Completing a task without injury, accidents, is a successful project. A successful project, a successful completion include completing the project on schedule, on budget, on quality, without damage to environment and without incurring fatalities and injuries. Still talking about quality. When you're focusing about quality, but there is no active safety practice, what happens? It leads to mobilizing weak materials. Now that goes in addition to what? To procurement. You can see when I say that knowledge areas are fluid, they are fluid process, they work together. Quality goes inside safety, safety goes inside procurement, procurement goes inside resource management goes with cost, cost goes inside schedule, schedule goes with scope. Everything works together as a single entity. And to make it easier for you to be able to manage this system, putting safety as the central of knowledge, the center of integration, makes everything go smoothly. No safety practices, when you put quality but no safety practices, what happens? You mobilize weak materials to site. For example, maybe you want to carry out a pilot test. This example was what I experienced myself. I use examples of what I've experienced. Which safety practice will inspect and not approve for use? Sometimes when you want to carry out NDT or not carry out pilot test or every other test to ensure that there is a long-term quality of a product of a particular project deliverable, or there's a high business sustainability or equipment sustainability, they bring out this equipment, and sometimes they do not look into the safety aspect. They only look into okay, let us just bring it and just carry out the test, quality test, and let us go. But they fail to understand the safety aspect. Like, for example, one of the places where I worked, they wanted to carry out the pilot test. They brought out, they came with rust metal materials to carry out the test. It was not welcoming, and we wanted to reject it, but as usual, so that's why we need this training, not only for safety professionals, but also for project managers, project engineers to understand these areas. At the end of the day, what happened? While the pilot test was happening, the box, the metal box that they will pour the sand to carry out the pilot test, shattered and broke down, fell to the ground, and that was the end. Because the materials were of low quality, safety will not accept it for you to use it. And that is where safety understanding comes into play. Another example is the one I said, rushing a work to late hours, the story of the plastering. But when there are safety practices, we reject these materials and we tell them to bring the right materials. We tell them to practice job rotation. We tell them to go hours to rest and come back to work the next day. All these things are towards carrying out the work safely, carrying out the work within cost schedule, and most importantly, with high-level safety practices. Then let's go to risk. Risk is a very common term when it comes to health, safety, and quality. We use this word interchangeably even in the financial sector, in finance and business. There's business risk, there's finance risk. Risk is very eminent in every part of our life. And our goal always is to reduce risk to as low as reasonably practicable. Is to reduce risk to as low as reasonably practicable. Reduction of risk is a process through the total project life cycle. When we want to reduce risk, it is not only at a particular point. Through the entire project cycle, we are reducing so many risks. We want to achieve this on schedule, on quality, on this, on that. Everything is, we are trying to reduce this risk. Okay, someone is requesting that they put up their video that it is distracting. Please kindly focus on the slides. So, reduction of risk is a process through the total project life cycle. When we are carrying out a project, we told us that we have 5 phases of the project. The initiation phase, we have the planning phase, we have the execution phase, we have the monitoring and control, and we have the closing phase of the project. Sorry for that. And we have the closing phase of the project. And our goal is to ensure that anything that could hinder the project, the progress of the project, is a risk factor that we need to highlight and to address. And we also have safety risk included. That is why in safety, there's what we call, some people call it HIRA, hazard identification and risk assessment. Some call it RAMS, risk assessment and method statement. Hazard identification and risk analysis are the bedrocks to prevent accidents in the workplace. Risk, and remember, in addition to preventing accidents, also to prevent equipment breakdown. Like I just tell my safety word of contact, those that are around me, I tell them, don't only talk about preventing accidents, talk about the business value, talk about how it will affect cost, how it will affect project delay. Let them understand the business value. And you can't understand the business value if you yourself, you are not sitting on the bedrock of understanding the business value of safety integration into projects or whatever organization you are working with. So Risks and opportunities alters team's performance. You need to understand risks, understand opportunities, and how they affect the performance of the team. Effectively managing safety risk will improve overall team's performance. So under risk in the project management book of knowledge, the first thing, like I said, everything is always plan risk management. The first thing you do in project management in the project book of knowledge is to plan risk management. If it's schedule, plan schedule management. If it's if it is quality, plan quality management is the first stage. When it comes to safety, what are you planning? You are planning to manage safety risk. You are planning to understand the impact that employee injury will have on the bottom line of the company. Understanding the impact that employee injuries will have on the bottom line of the company. Then after planning risk management, then you now identify your risk. Where are those risks? Have your risk register. How do you identify your risk in safety? Hazard identifications, site observation, site inspection, and site safety audits. In the quality world, quality audit inspections. Then from there, you carry out qualitative and quantitative risk analysis, such as risk assessment, integrating it with cost, schedule, and quality. Then from there, you now plan your risk responses. How do you plan to respond to risk when they occur? What can be done to protect the project from the risks that you've identified? From your HSE plan, from your HSE manual, from your hazard identification, from your site observations, what can be done to protect the project from the risks that you've identified? Eliminating the risk or reducing the risk to as low as reasonably practicable. Changes in some part of the scope doesn't require any changes. That is why change management is also an important part. It's also an important training that safety professionals should know. Change management, management of change. Before, we wanted to build a 4-story building, but now we have been instructed to add 5-story building to it. What are the implications? It has affected the scope, it will affect the schedule, it will affect the budget, and it will affect safety. Obviously, definitely there needs to be a revisit of what? Of the project chapter. That is at the initiation phase of the project. And that is where safety must also be part of the stakeholders that will look into the management of change in the project execution phase. More financial reserve doesn't requires more supervision. We are carrying out critical operations, or you need more. You need to carry out more activities on the project. You need to carry out more, spend more time on the project. There are lapses, there are issues that happen. Then you need to work on finishing the project. Then you need to ensure that you have enough human resources and enough tools, certain tools, to make sure that you cover up for every lapses. Like I said, it is always a fluid process. When new risks are identified, the process is checked back. When you say something is a fluid process, it means that from the initiation phase down to the closing phase, it is fluid in nature. It's fluid in nature, from initiating the project to planning the project to executing the project to the areas of monitoring and controlling and closing, to every knowledge area. Like I said, each phase of the project have knowledge areas that are applicable to them. From scope, schedule, procurement, cost, everything is fluid. It's a fluid process. You can identify a risk in procurement, and you have to go back to your cost. Maybe when they were doing the procurement phase, you plan to mobilize a particular reservoir for a particular section of the project in in the 6th month. But due to some new law, some new regulation, that is where your ISO comes into play. When you are talking about external parties that can affect your project. Maybe there is a new regulation, a new law, and it has to restrict the movement or mobilization of your equipment. Definitely it's going to affect the project. It's going to affect the project. At the end of the day, maybe they need to bring it around September, October. And you still need to finish that project. Who is that? But you still need to complete that project in December. Definitely by the time the equipment gets into the site, work will start speeding up, then there will be more pressure, which will lead to higher possibility of having more accidents. But to prevent that accident from happening, definitely you need to put safety practice in place so that we will still maintain our schedule. Because what happens is an external factor beyond our control. But at the same time, we still need to achieve our quality deliverable. So also so from there, you will see that procurement is already affecting cost, procurement is already affecting budget, is already affecting schedule. At the end of the day, it's affecting safety because there will be pressure on workers and there will be higher rates of having an accident. But when under your plan risk responses or when under your schedule management in your project, in your knowledge area, under your schedule, you've given room for such things that will happen under estimate schedule. So from there, you have a higher rate of injuries can be caused by poor training, poor supervision. So procurement. I just talked about procurement now. Planning procurement of tools, equipment, materials, chemicals, based on safety requirements, we ensure that tools, equipment, chemicals, materials are brought to site, doesn't possess safety risks to the workers. This should be common knowledge. That is why when they bring out any equipment, when they bring new equipment to site, we will request for the training man, for the operator's manual, manufacturer's manual. For chemicals, we will request for what do you call it? SDS, safety data sheet. We request for so many things to make sure that we understand the safety risk of these new tools, materials, equipment, and we communicate it to the workers on the best practices to apply to ensure that the equipment does not affect them in the workplace. It also ensures that potential risks are reduced to the minimum and residual risks are managed. It also ensures that equipment do not break down and cause delays, lost time, and indirect costs. We've talked about this a number of times, ensuring that our equipment do not just break down anyhow and let us to waste time without doing anything, leading to lost time and indirect cost. We do not want that on our project. So we finished the aspect of planning now. Now we are going into executing, monitoring, and control. Executing, monitoring, and control. This is where the job is being done. This is where the work is being carried out. I wish I could switch on my camera for you to see how energetic I've been since the beginning of this training section. How I've been moving my hand from right to left, trying to put myself into this training. And I believe that we are flowing together. So executing, monitoring, and control. But because of the network here, I just don't want to risk it because it will affect the training, the network. Mr. Ejiro Michael, you're asking for the app. Don't worry, very soon we'll be through with the class. I hope you're enjoying the class. I think that is what is more important. No matter how long or how short we look, is to deliver value and to see that, yes, we gain one or two things from this training section. If you have questions, please kindly drop it in the comment section. Like I said, this is an overview. The main training, the main course where we would look at the all knowledge areas, so that I will look at the complete knowledge areas will be happening in 2 to 3 weeks time. If you're interested, it's not going to cost us much. These are soft skills that we need to be able to stand firm. Everything is not just about certification. Pali, we call it pali here, but it's about getting the soft skills that you need that will build those confidence in us wherever we find ourselves. So let's continue.
Yes,
so now we are in executing, monitoring, and controlling. Okay, I will answer your question, please. Patience. Let us continue. At the end of the class, I will answer your question. So under executing, monitoring, and control, we won't be looking at every knowledge area. Let's look at resources. Under executing, monitoring, and control, let's look at resources. Under resources, we have number 1, acquire the resources. How do you acquire your resources? Sometimes people mistake procurement for acquiring resources. In the procurement, you are already buying it from where you've acquired to bringing it out to the site. But the process of acquiring those resources is under resources, resource management. Please, Mr. I've forgotten your name. Please help me to admit those coming in. It's somehow distracting me. Standard materials, for example, acquiring scaffold materials. Sometimes we have
sorry. My network went. Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Sorry. Before you continue, sorry.
I can hear you. Okay, I should make it the admin.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah, I've done that.
Yes, my net.
Yeah, I've done that. All right, thank you. So sometimes we have, for example, scaffold materials, we have Korean standard and I think we have British standard. That is scaffold materials. Sometimes you see most times we will combine Korean and British standard materials together. When you see scaffolders, that is scaffold inspectors, trained ones, competent ones, they most times reject it. Though we might look at it like it's still fine, it's strong, but when it comes to standard projects that you want to actually show your expertise, standard materials are always very important areas of projects. Another one is the PPE, how you acquire your PPEs, suitability of the PPE, and the durability of the PPE based on the work they do. The number of times that a bricklayer, a mason will change his hand glove will not be the same thing as the number of times an electrician will change his hand gloves, because one is using it more intensely than the other. Acquired resources also involves competent person and using safety certified equipment. Then from there, we talk about developing the team of engineers, the team of technicians, the team of managers, and the likes. Then manage the team. How do you manage your team? Operational aspect like the working hours, the shifts, the working hours, the overtime, the leave, the emergency leave and absence. How do you manage this thing that at the end of the day, you have more people leaving the work site while the work is being left undone? These are the areas that during the execution of the project, you need to properly manage, and to ensure under developing your team also includes understanding the health conditions of your workers, health surveillance, carrying out health surveillance and the likes for your workers, because when you don't know their health record, you might not know when a particular activity on site is affecting them. Then during the execution phase and monitoring and control, we have the risk. So Implementing risk responses. This is a major aspect. Implementing risk responses. How do you implement your risk that you identify? From your word breakdown structure, you identify your job hazard analysis. The project team can identify the high-risk activities and establish the safest way to execute these tasks. Hazard material programs. Identifying the hazard present, knowledge of how to respond to an accident, emergency response systems, setting up necessary safety barriers, training employees. We have preventive measures to prevent an accident, protective, and at the end of the day, we have emergency response. So prevention is always the best for us to use, but if there is mitigation, controlling the effect, and if it's escalated, emergencies and how to rescue workers in the workplace. Such of those responses include failure mode effect analysis, FMEA. You have the hazard and operability. From this hazard and operability, we can know what could go wrong in the process, and we have implemented various processes, various procedures, various engineering technical systems in place to prevent such hazards from becoming a high risk, from getting to a high risk level where it will be controlled. Hazard identification. We have various tools, risk management techniques, such as the bow tie. We have the fishbone. We have the fault tree and the event tree. Yeah, the fault tree and event tree can also make up the bow tie. We have having safety committees, trainings, supervisions, and inspections. These are ways that we use to implement risk responses. What are those things? When it comes to still talking about risk, what are the risk factors that affect the possibility of an accident happening? What are the risk factors that affect the possibility of accidents happening? What are the risk factors that affect the possibility of accidents happening? Number one, the number of workers. If you have less workers and you have too many activities to carry out, that is working on pressure, it can lead to accident happening. Number of hours worked. Number of hours your workers are working. Then a combination of number of workers and number of hours worked. The amount of plant and equipment. If you have Bomag roller, we have excavator, we have backhoe, you have so many equipment on site, 15, 20 tractor, trailers, definitely there will be a possibility of having an accident. Definitely you need to put more control. So the more you have this, the more your risk factor. The number of subcontractors you have on site that are working simultaneously, number of high critical operations, these are the things that could lead to higher risk in the workplace. And if you don't manage them very well, it will affect your project duration, it will affect your cost, it will affect your quality. And that is why safety is the only tool that can be used to ensure that these issues that we always have on site does not lead to an accident that could affect our project. They're talking about procurement still under execution and monitoring and control. Conduct procurement. How do you conduct your procurement in the best of ways? Process to acquire resources. What are those processes that you want to use to acquire your resources? You see, like I told you, like it's a fluid process. You can see resource management system here, and you can see procurement here. It's always working together. What can lead procurement lead to? I explained one to us recently. Late procurement. Late procurement or delivery means the project will not be on schedule, and project will be on pressure. There will be high pressure on the project. Project under high pressure will give higher possibility of accident happening if established safety procedures isn't put in place. And that is how safety will continue to be an important tool to ensure this. So at the end of the day, we are seeing that safety is the one controlling the scope, is one controlling the schedule, merging multiple tasks together, controlling the cost, Because when you put safety first, it will positively affect your cost, quality, resources, communication, risk changes, procurement, stakeholders, and the scope of the project. At the end of the day, safety becomes a center to reckon with when it comes to ensuring that there should be project success and a quality deliverable. Then to the closing phase of the project, like I said, we have 5 phases. We have the initiation, we have the planning, we have the execution, we have the monitoring and control, and we have the closing phase. So at the closing phase of the project, what are we expecting? There should be no accident, and there should be conformance to standard. Client requirements include not only completing it on time, to qualities, not only to standard, not only to budget. We are complete on time, we are complete on standard, quality standard, we are complete on project, on budget, but without fatalities and injuries. Because these are the things that we ensure that, yes, we know what we are doing, to have a good record, client confidence in us. This achievement can also be included as a milestone to build client confidence. You see many organizations, they will write 25 million man-hour without LTI, 200 billion man-hour without LTI. This man-hour, but when you look into their system, when you go into their system and you see what they carry out and what they do, you shake your head, you move your head from right to left, thinking, how are these people lying? Brother, why are you lying? Why are you lying? Why are you telling me that you don't have LTI? Meanwhile, you are keeping those records from getting into the public knowledge. It is not fair. And the only way that this thing can be real and be true, that you actually have all these records, is when you integrate safety into your project management system. Ask yourself, why don't they boast that they spent 50 billion without on the project? Why do they boast that they achieved this social quality? Why do they always use LTI, 20 billion LTI without man-hour? Because they understand that people value safety. Why is it that what they look out for, when you go to their gate, they will tell you safety first? Because they understand that people value safety, clients value safety. And if you also value safety and you value your business and you value business sustainability, then safety is an important tool that you will always use. How we'll be talking about these things, how easy it is for us to mix them together. Firstly, before I talk about that, when there is a deficiency in productivity and quality, investigation does reveal that such project management systems have high-level deficiency in health and safety. I've developed this slide like 2 years ago or more. I've developed this slide because I've seen so many. Looking at the recent accident that happened at Ikoyi is a very good example. There was low quality, low productivity, and it's so obvious that there was no safety practice. Go and look at every organization that have low productivity or that have low quality. Go and look at what they do. You will see that there is no element or there's high-level deficiency in their regards for health and safety. But go and look at organizations that are doing well, extremely well, that are getting high-level returns, that have high business sustainability. You will see, without looking around, without checking, without turning your neck 360 degree, without looking up and down too much, you will see that there is high value for safety in those organizations, which tells you that safety will always underpin every other knowledge areas. Even though in this PM book of knowledge, I don't know about now, but when I started the class, the PM book of knowledge has not included safety. I am the one including safety. I don't know if any other person has included, but I am including safety as an integrating factor. PM book of knowledge has failed to include safety because they do not understand the power of safety. Inadequate health and safety affect productivity and quality. For example, when you have short-term projects, there are issues affecting health and safety, such as pressure, less time per activity, inadequate supervision. This in turn affects cost, quality, and schedule. And when schedule, cost, and quality are being prioritized, it will always be on the detriment of health and safety. Go and look at those projects that they are always in a rush, that they just want to work, cost, money. They prioritize quality, schedule, and cost, but at the detriment of safety. They say, Mr. Safety, please go aside. At the end of the day, they will now realize that not putting safety as first is giving them low client confidence, it's giving them low business value and low business sustainability, because they are only thinking on a short term. In the 21st century, someone who thinks deep, far and wide in business will think about safety. That's why I reckon with some organizations like TSL, Transit Service Limited in Nigeria here. I think there's some other part of Africa too, and some other big companies like that are genuinely focused on safety. They are projecting higher because of their high value and respect and vision for safety. And meanwhile, lack of health and safety increases the overall project risk that we discussed about. So how easy it is for us to integrate productivity, schedule, cost, safety? How easy it is for us to integrate this together? The answer is, it is very easy. Very easy. According to research, the methodology of putting health and safety, productivity, cost, schedule, and quality is common. The vision, the strategy, the planning, the execution, the measurement, the involvement of all stakeholders, it is common. The principle of achieving management control in relation to health and safety, quality, productivity, cost, and schedule are all the same. For example, let's look at our ISO system. ISO 9001, 4001, 14001, 27001, all these ISO, you look at, they have the same structure. They have the same structure, they are similar. It's just for you to understand each field in a single entity. You'll be able to apply all these systems together. So if someone is focused on cost and there's cost management system, the system for managing cost is similar. The vision, the strategy, the planning, the execution, the measurement is similar to what you have if you want to implement health and safety. It's not difficult. We have quality plan, we have cost plan, we have environmental plan, we have safety plan, we have quality manual, we have all these things. The system for integrating and unifying these operations throughout health and safety, quality, productivity, they are all the same. And it makes it easier through the ISO system to be able to integrate these systems together. Knowing this, how do we now define a successful project? The technical performance, high-level technical performance from the resource management, the human resource management, the performance of the technical team that they engage, which is a reflection of during the induction process and during the induction process and the interview process, how they were able to engage and gain workers to come and carry out the activities. I'm trying to admit somebody in. Efficiency of execution. How was the level of execution? The level of errors should be low. There should be a high level of efficiency, and this can be done when you have competent persons, competent procedures, establishing standard operating procedures, deriving these standards and using them appropriately, and using them simultaneously with good safety practices. Then managerial and organizational implication. So I have to admit some people in. Managerial and organizational implication of of what you have carried out. How does it affect the organization as a whole? Personal growth, individuals that have gotten involved in the process of the project execution, how did they grow? Did they improve? Those are the ways you can measure your project via trainings, via benchmarking, and the likes. Then manufacturability and business performance, the company reputation. These are the things that will tell us that the project is overall successful. Other things that we need to understand at some point before they engage contractors, or before you as a client, you engage contractors, what are the pre-qualifications? HSE conscious contractors are more efficient and HSE complements quality. Any organization, I've said it and I'll say it enough, I will say it and I'll keep saying it till tomorrow, till next month, till next year, till the next 10 years, 15, 20, 100 years, without looking back, that organizations that are safety conscious are always quality conscious, because safety will always complement quality. I've given an example of, for example, in the areas of procurement of materials, a safety person can never allow a contractor or a vendor to bring substandard materials that will affect quality, because it will speak of the overall safety. So if we agree, which you must agree, that safety contractors are more efficient than contractors are more efficient than contractors that are not safety conscious. And we also know that safety will automatically complement quality, which in return will complement the technical performance and the efficiency of execution. Then safety becomes a major tool that you should always use, and it's already a tool that has been used to ensure quality deliverable. Safety conscious contractors are more attractive to clients. Health and safety, therefore, should be a basis for the selection of contractors via demonstrated records, health and safety commitments, and knowledge, and the ability to work in a healthy and safe manner. Let me come again. Health and safety, therefore, should be a basis for selection of contractors. If you want a client to choose you over others, put safety first. Via demonstrated records, not just by writing it in your gate, that safety starts here, but when you enter, you know that it starts and ends at the gate. Demonstrated safety records, your inspection record, your record of competency, your record of trainings, your record of developing standards, procedures for activities in your workplace. Then health and safety commitment, how you stay committed to your health and safety, and the knowledge and the ability to work in a healthy and safety manner always. At the end of the day, what do we have? You have an organization that moves from pathological, where they don't care about safety, moves to the reactive, to the calculative, to the proactive, and you become a safety of your own, because safety is what you see as the way you do business. You get to the predictive stage. This will involve so many activities, increasing performance, increasing KPI, increasing trust and accountability, engagement of so many people coming together as a whole entity to ensure that we achieve our goal. At the end of the day, implementing health and safety for your project activity, for your project execution, you will see that it will make the whole thing look so easy and simple. At the end of the day, we come to the end of today's training. And I hope, and we hope, that we've learned one or two things from this training section. Like we said, we are Cordial Safety Consult. We develop and we design and we deliver trainings to different organizations, from construction safety to occupational health and safety, to psychological safety, to the management of mental well-being. Every kind of training at all, we give trainings, and we also help in organizations in safety compliance monitoring, helping them to manage their safety systems. You can also want to develop dashboard for your safety data.
to present on the Excel sheet. We deliver trainings and the likes, free and paid trainings. We appreciate you for coming. We love to see you again. This is just an overview of this training. Imagine what the full content will be like. So if you want to engage in the full content that will involve certification, this training is free and is not. We only had an overview, even though it took us time, and I took my time to train us on this, 2 hours exactly. We only had an overview. But the next training, if you're interested, you can send me a DM where we have the full, complete training, and it will have certificates and other things that will be needed after the training. Thank you, and God bless you. So if you have any questions, please let us ask. So please, feedback on this training. Well, you can drop our feedback on the in our WhatsApp group or LinkedIn page. It has been sent to us. Thank you, Mr. Abdulhakim, for that. Thank you. I have some, please kindly mute yourself. No about that. Okay. I have some. Someone asked me for the certification. Please, we need certificates for this training. If you need the certificate version where we issue certificate, kindly send the DM to me. We have a paid version that will be coming up in 2 to 3 weeks' time for the full version of this particular training. This is an overview, even though it is very robust, but what we are going to deliver for you the next time will be much more robust than this, because you engage the full knowledge areas from beginning to the end, and we'll be using safety as a tool also. I really appreciate the certificate for this course. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, sorry. If you want the certificate, please kindly send a DM to me for you to show interest that you want the certificate, so that we'll plan on the next training. I think I have a question here. How do you address the issue where the management doesn't care, even when your project, all that is required is to be when you have to, I used to get this question so many times. And the issue is that anytime anything happens, it still comes down to you. So what you do is that you request officially, write officially, send mails concerning issues that you spot. But at the same time, we need to also learn how to communicate, because sometimes they see us as they are just there to collect salary, because they just tell you, right, wear PPE, wear nose mask, permit to work, sign your name, no other value. Let them see value, and you can only know value when you attend trainings like this, when you attend trainings like soft skills trainings like this. Okay. Okay, thank you, my able lecturer, for this wonderful and educative presentation. Thank you, Mr. Hamad. Okay. Thank you, sir, for sharing. Am I registered with Octan? Yeah, I think I've heard about Octan. Thanks so much. Got an interesting knowledge shared. Please, are you registered with? No, I'm not yet registered with them. I'm not yet registered with them. So much knowledge shared. Thanks so much. Thank you very much for your pre-training. It is a big social service for us who are living in the third world country. It is very informative. Thank you, Ms. Benura. Which country are you from? Explicit training presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for sharing. UAE, okay. Thanks so much for coming. For those who are just joining us, we've come to the end of this section. And if you are interested in the paid version of this training, please kindly show your interest so that we will book us for the training. I've sent my WhatsApp details for those that are interested. I've sent my WhatsApp details for those that are interested. You can chat me up on +234 80 28 65 78 7826 080 28 65 7826. You can chat me up on this line. That is my WhatsApp line, and we'll be happy to hear from you. You'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you, Mr. Oyelola.
Thank you very much.
Please, if you have any question, please let us drop our question. Any question, can you raise your hand? Can you raise your hand so that we can entertain your questions? If you have any question, kindly raise your hand so that we can entertain your questions. Okay, Mr. Benga, please kindly omit yourself.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Mr. Engineer, please kindly mute first. Let Mr. Benga. Mr. Benga.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I really appreciate the lecture and the training. It really helps me a lot. And I want to ask, are you into PMP?
Yes, I can get you. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes, to answer your question, I'm into PMP as a trainer. Are you there? Mr. Benga, I can't hear you again. Any other question? Mr. Benga, can you hear me now? Mr. Benga, can you hear me? To answer your question, I've studied the PM Book of Knowledge and I've attended classes in PMP.
The other thing we have to consider is how strong it is.
Huh?
I can't hear you. Can you be more audible, please?
Please, can you come up? Mr. Benga, please.
Hello?
Hello.
Please,
Can hear you.
can you be more audible?
Hello?
We can hear you faintly.
Hello?
Okay, Mr. Benga, if you couldn't hear, if we can hear you faintly, but if you can hear me, are you getting me? As I said earlier, I said we are into PMP in our training.
Hello?
Do you mean how effective is PMP certificate? And do you know what? After the training, please, you can call us on that number that has been posted on the chat group. We can't hear you, sir.
Please, kindly drop your text so that we can entertain others. Please, any other question, please? Okay. If you can arrange this kind of free training for risk analysis, it will be great for us. Verona from Sri Lanka. Okay, just stay updated. We gave a training on QHS analysis some weeks ago. I think last month to be precise. So just follow us on all social media handles, and when it is time for us to have such training, we'll put it in record and we'll definitely deliver it to you. Please, any other question, please?
All right. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, we really appreciate this training. We really appreciate it. It's quite it's an eye-opener for me personally. But
in a situation where we have we have the project team in place, and a safety person have been in telling them often and often that, okay, whenever there is a project to be handled, they should always involve the safety personnel whenever they are planning for a safety, they are planning for any project. Now, when the project is about to start, or whenever the project is starting, and the safety personnel now get to know later, when the safety personnel now go to the site, it stops all the work, and everything will now become a chaos. Now that's when they will now be saying that the project is something that they need to do very quick. They need to handle. They have a timeline for the closure of the project. They understand. So many cases have been going on like that. That the safety personnel have always been telling the project team that this is how it should be. So in a case like that, and you have always been a kind of person that, or you have always been maltreated by the management. They don't regard your whenever you talk, they don't regard you as a safety personnel. Do you understand? So how do you handle such situation?
I understand the areas you're coming from, and it is quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in such situations. But like I do tell, like I do say, the angle of communication matters. While I was taking on the training, I was saying something like, we need to change the tone from just preventing accidents. You get what I'm saying? You need to change the tone. Yes, we prevent accident, but
Okay.
what is the effect of preventing accident? The effect of preventing accident is to reduce costs that could come when there's an accident. The project of reducing accident is to reduce delay. They need to be lectured. They need to be lectured that our job is not only to provide PPE, write permit, do induction, and wear reflective and walk around the site and tell them how to walk. They should understand. That is why understanding communication is very important, and how we build. You see, safety work is more of building a close relationship with top management, making them to understand things the way they should understand it. There's what we call safety differently. Why they try to do things the way they feel they should be done, educate them on the aspect of critical activities that could lead to higher cost, that could lead to things that could defame the character of the organization. Is it character? Or that could defame the organization's reputation. Making them to understand, giving them examples of what has happened in the past, how companies lost millions, gap analysis, how company has lost millions to accident. Client management don't want to hear loss, because what they are after is how to give them more money, more money, more money. Equipment loss, more productivity, machine should be running. So we need to incorporate the areas of we ourselves understanding the business value of our organization and incorporating what safety has to offer in that regard to them. Then we will now narrow it down to what we want them to do. It will take time, but with time and consistency, they would do no choice than to hit to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Mr. Waliu, can you hear me?
That outlet.
Yeah, I think I got a question here, and someone said, please, for someone who has done the Bosch and ISO 9001:2015 and need to advance his career, what particular certification can increase one's demand and value in the market and industry?
Please come again, please.
Someone posted on the group chats, and that's Ashu Alexander. Please, for someone who has done the Bosch and ISO 9001:2015 and need to advance his career, what particular certification can increase one's demand and value in the market and industry?
Okay, so someone who has NEBOSH and ISO 9001 and want to advance his career, what particular certification can increase one's demand and value in the market and industry? Number one, which industry are you talking about? That is the first area you should look into. The industry you're talking about will channel your energy into the kind of training that you actually need. You channel your energy into the kind of training that you need. Every course, every training is not generic, except from general courses, general trainings. So if you know the particular industry you want to find yourself, definitely there are courses that are specific to those industries. There are so many organizations like that they need you to carry out some specific from the
Yeah, sorry, I think he just responded. Sorry, I think he just responded. He said oil and gas sector.
Yeah, if you want to go for oil and gas, marine, then BOSET, is it BOSET, UX, those are important courses.
Hello, Mr. Wali.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Mr. Hakim?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, what I'm saying now, I think...
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I think the network, so that I'll just round it up. There are some courses for oil and gas industry, like UX and BOSET. So such person to go for such courses. Such person to go for such courses. Then in the oil and gas industry, you can go for hazard and operability, ASOP study, hazard studies. All these courses, all these technical courses are also good for you. So that answers your question. So let's put it to the end of today's training. Like, there are network issues. We appreciate everyone for coming. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you for coming to this training. We hope to see you again. Remember, this version is the free version of this training. The paid version will be happening in 2 to 3 weeks' time. If you're interested to understand the full book of knowledge, program management book of knowledge, the knowledge areas and integrating safety into it, please kindly send us a message. You can see it there. It has been sent to us. Our LinkedIn page is there. Our website is there. Our Instagram page is there. Kindly send a message to us and we'll always respond. Mr. Denga, I'm here to see your message. You can message me directly on WhatsApp. The number is there for you to call. You can also drop a message here, but we'll be closing now because of time. We hope to see you again. We hope to see more of this interesting training, and we hope to serve you better and better. If you have organizations that we can train, that we can deliver our trainings to, you can also shout us up on those organizations that we can deliver trainings to, and we promise to always give you the best. Thank you, and God bless you.